Right now on Morning News Now, promises and pressure. This morning, President Trump set to talk trade with a key global leader just days before those so-called reciprocal tariffs take effect. And on Capitol Hill, lawmakers playing the blame game over the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case.
It's nonsensical. They have nothing else to talk about. I wish they would talk about policy, things that would help the American people, but instead they're playing political games.
The far right, Donald Trump, right-wing conspiracy theorists, and others are the ones who have put this Jeffrey Epstein thing in the public domain.
Meanwhile, despite opposition from his family, the Trump administration releasing hundreds of thousands of pages from the FBI on Martin Luther King Jr. We'll have an update from Washington. Also this morning, two stunning twists in a pair of closely watched trials decades apart. In New York, a conviction overturned in the 1979 murder of 6-year-old Aton Patz. And in Kentucky, a former police officer learns his fate for his role in the botched raid that killed Breonna Taylor. We'll bring you the latest. Developing this morning, another day, another storm, with millions of people in the Midwest bracing for flash flooding. And across the country, we're tracking dangerous triple-digit heat. We've got your forecast. And a major breakthrough that could help millions of people suffering from Alzheimer's disease. This medication used to treat cancer that researchers say could be the key to slowing cognitive decline. Potentially a big breakthrough there. And look who's here.
I'm back after vacation. Good to see you on this Tuesday morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Slaughter. We're happy to have you, Joe. Well, we're going to get started this morning. Tuesday morning, with the ongoing pressure the Trump administration faces over its handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case.
The president's spat with media mogul Rupert Murdoch over the situation is now taking center stage. The White House has removed reporters from Murdoch's Wall Street Journal from a group set to accompany President Trump on his upcoming trip to Scotland. This follows the Journal's report last week that Mr. Trump wrote Epstein a birthday message in 2003 that featured a drawing of a naked woman. The president has denied writing that message. The White House told reporters yesterday that the president, quote, knows what his supporters want when it comes to the Epstein case. Just last week, Republican Speaker of the House Johnson said everything must come out in the Epstein case, but now he's backing away from that. Well, Democrats remain firm on full disclosure of what's known about the convicted sex offender.
My belief is we need the administration to have the space to do what it is doing, and if further congressional action is necessary or appropriate, then we'll look at that. But I don't think we're at that point right now because we agree with the president.
The right thing to do is to present the facts and the evidence to the American people so that they can make an informed decision about what may or may not have happened and who may or may not be implicated.
Meanwhile, it's a busy day ahead for President Trump as he's set to meet with the president of the Philippines today at the White House, where tariffs and trade are likely to be front and center.
NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba joins us now from Washington with the latest. Monica, good morning. So we know the president is facing this backlash from MAGA supporters about the handling of files related to Epstein. He spent the last couple of days airing some old grievances on social media, things that are popular with his base. So walk us through the administration's strategy, how it's trying to handle the Epstein case right now and shift focus. And part of that strategy includes removing the Wall Street Journal from covering Mr. Trump's trip to Scotland.
Exactly, Joe. The president is supposed to be heading to Scotland at the end of the week. And look, it is up to their discretion who is a part of that group of reporters that will be accompanying him on Air Force One. So they have decided to remove the Wall Street Journal reporter who was slated to be there. And if this sounds familiar, it's because it is. Remember, the Associated Press back during the beginning of the administration was also removed from the rotation of those in the reporting group that likely and often does cover whatever the president is doing. That even went to court, and ultimately the Trump administration was the one that was victorious. So that is why they're arguing that they have the grounds to make this kind of a move. And we've seen this before. This is a White House and a president who certainly likes to go to battle with the press. And this is an extension of that. And it maybe is a part of trying to put the focus elsewhere and also trying to go through with this kind of reaction that the president did threaten if the Wall Street Journal went ahead with this story, which we know they did. In addition to that, this is a White House that is also trying to maybe bring up other things and focus on other stories so that people stop talking about the Epstein fallout. But we know that when it comes to this, it's the president's own base and supporters that are not yet satisfied because they are calling for more information. Joe and Savannah.
Monica, another headline, we mentioned this a moment ago, this is coming out of the White House yesterday. This was this release of more than 230,000 pages of documents related to the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. It's something Dr. King's children expressed concern over. Why is that? What's in these documents? Why now?
Yeah, and the family specifically put out a statement saying that they want to make sure that if these documents are to be released in the way that they were, that it would be within the full historical context. And they say, the family, that they want to make sure that nothing that could come out would impact his extremely important legacy. That is their perspective and their concern, of course, even though there was a family member, a niece, who thanked the Attorney General for putting out some of this information, which did focus on the man who was convicted of murdering Martin Luther King Jr. And it really details some of the investigations into his life, investigations specifically into some of the leads that they had in the case when they were trying to also find more information. But it comes at a time where the president, remember, had ordered more information to be released about the assassination of former President John F. Kennedy, of Robert Kennedy as well. And so they are saying that they are making good on that promise, but some are observing that at a time when, again, there's more information that is being called for to be released related to Jeffrey Epstein in the Department of Justice. Instead, they released this information yesterday. And again, there are questions about whether there could be grand jury testimony related to Jeffrey Epstein that could come out, which is what the president says he's calling for now.
Monica, I want to bring up another issue here. It's been a few weeks since we know President Trump signed his tax cut and spending package into law, what he called the big, beautiful bill. Now we're learning even more as we've had more time to analyze it about how much the package is going to add to the national debt. What have we learned?
$3.4 trillion over the next decade. And that was a major concern of even some of the Republicans who were holdouts on that piece of legislation. But something else that we're learning, Joe and Savannah, is this confirmation that more than 10 million people are going to lose their health insurance because of the proposed cuts to Medicaid that now have been signed into law with this massive, massive bill.
Monica, also, let's look ahead to today. President Trump's hosting the president of the Philippines. What can we expect there?
Yeah, and this is, of course, an important trading and economic relationship and partner. And so the president of the Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., is coming with the hope and expectation that they can maybe iron out a trade work agreement. Remember that there is all of this promise from the president that he was going to try to have 90 deals in 90 days. That did not take place. There's only a handful of those. But they are thinking that after today, it's possible that there could be some kind of handshake agreement without maybe the details. We know that the president, for his part, had put out this idea that there could be a 20% tariff rate on the Philippines if they don't come up with some kind of an agreement before August 1st. So a real push to do that with an important ally in the Pacific, guys.
And that deadline coming quickly. Monica Alba, thank you.
Well, across the country, millions of people are bracing for yet another sweltering day. The temperatures are expected to soar into the triple digits across the Southeast and the Great Plains. Now, some places may even see that heat index value reach 110 degrees or higher. But the threat of heat is just a part of the severe weather hitting the U.S. this summer. More rain is on the way. That is threatening to bring more flash floods to the upper Midwest and portions of the South. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson is on the ground in Houston with more.
Yeah, hey there, good morning from a not yet sweltering Houston, Texas, but it will soon get very hot here, as we are going to see across the country today. We are talking about some 54 million people who are under heat alerts from Kansas to Mississippi. People are bracing for temperatures that are going to feel like they're in the triple digits. Some areas seeing temperatures that are going to feel up to 112 degrees. It is going to be hot today. Meanwhile, you also have folks in parts of the Midwest and Kansas in some areas dealing with this very heavy rain and severe flooding. Unfortunately, we learned that in Overland Park, Kansas, a 62-year-old woman actually was killed after she was swept away by floodwaters, and we saw a number of rescues taking place there. And so there remains a severe weather threat in those areas. But for most of the country, it is going to be about the heat today. You can see the folks behind me have the right idea, which is to get into the pool and get those laps in before the sun comes out and really turns this day into a scorcher. And of course, if you are going to be outside today, you want to make sure that you're wearing that sunscreen, staying hydrated. And if you're starting to feel a little off, go inside, cool off, and just do what you can to stay cool while also, of course, enjoying the summer.
Oh, All right, Priscilla, thank you so much.
As she mentioned, the sizzling summer heat does continue today. Tens of millions are under heat alerts.
Angie Lastman is here to tell us where. Angie, good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Priscilla's exactly right. Temperature is going to surge here as the day goes on. And by the time we get into our warmest point of the day, we're talking triple-digit feels like temperatures for a whole lot of folks. So no surprise that we've got lots of folks under these heat alerts. They stretch from the plains down to the Gulf Coast. And where you see this brightest pink, those are heat warnings. So Little Rock, St. Louis, all included in those. And that means that those heat index values are going to be close to 115 degrees. Some of these alerts, just beware, they're going to last into Thursday. So we've got a couple of days of this kind of oppressive heat that we're going to have to deal with across this region. Today, we're expecting to hit the 90s for the actual temperature in St. Louis, Omaha, Dodge City, Fort Worth, Birmingham. Honestly, you name it, and we've got temperatures at least into the 90s from the Gulf Coast up into the Midwest. When you add in the humidity levels, our feels like temperatures are going to be well above 100 in some spots. So Little Rock, 108 is the peak heat index value you're expected. St. Louis, even warmer, 109 degrees, 111 for what it'll feel like in Tallahassee later this afternoon. So again, it's going to be quite warm and uncomfortable. And that goes for tomorrow, too, across some of these same spots. 100 degrees for Memphis, feeling like 110, 104 for what it'll feel like in Dallas, Lake Charles, 108 heat index in Mobile. And then by the time we get into the late week, really Thursday and beyond, we'll start to see some of that heat spread a little farther to the east. So Friday in New York City, expect the mid-90s, of course, with humidity. It'll feel much warmer than that, and it's the high 90s for Washington, D.C. on Friday. This kind of summer-like heat continues with us, at least for the next couple of days. And so we're concerned, of course, about those health-related impacts. And where you see the orange, that means moderate risk. So we've basically got the potential, if you're outside for a long time, to see some health-related issues. But heat-related issues for sure if you live anywhere from Jacksonville to New Orleans and up through Little Rock and even parts of the Midwest where you can see that brighter red. That's where we'll have a major risk for heat-related health impacts through the day today. So watching out for the most vulnerable of our populations, of course, your friends, your neighbors, all going to want to find a cool spot today. And otherwise, guys, got a couple of thunderstorms we'll track in parts of the upper Midwest.
But not too much rain. That's good.
Not too much rain. Yeah.
Thanks, Angie.
Really good. Thank you.
You got it.
Well, the FAA and Air Force are investigating that close call we've been talking about over North Dakota. This was on Friday when that B-52 bomber and a Delta Airlines regional jet carrying 80 people nearly collided as the bomber was performing a flyover at the North Dakota State Fair. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has the latest.
Amateur video at the North Dakota State Fair captured the Delta Airlines regional jet flown by SkyWest making a sharp turn as the biggest bomber in the Air Force fleet, a B-52, roars over the crowd below.
For those of you on the right-hand side, you probably saw the airplane kind of sort of coming at us. Nobody told us about it.
After making a hard 25-degree bank to the right, then diving, the SkyWest pilot apologized to the passengers on board.
So, sorry about the aggressive maneuver. It caught me by surprise. This is not normal at all. I don't know why they didn't give us a heads up because the Air Force Base does have radar, and nobody said, hey, there's also a B-52 in the pattern.
Passenger Monica Green says the sudden turn felt very sharp.
I just remember the plane going like sideways like that and just looking straight out the window and just seeing grass.
It happened just 1,000 feet above the ground. In a statement, SkyWest says Flight 3788 had been cleared for approach by the tower, but performed a go-around when another aircraft became visible in their flight path. The Minot Tower doesn't have radar. It operates on visual flight rules. The FAA says the tower is run by a private company, and these controllers are not FAA employees.
I'm not sure the B-52 crew even knew that the Delta airplane was there. And they were not talking to the same controller.
It comes just 6 months after an Army Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Eagle regional plane, killing 67 people over Washington. The private company that operates the Minot Tower is deferring all questions to the FAA. The military tells NBC News that B-52 was flying on an approved flight path. Back to you.
All right, Tom, thank you.
The death toll in Bangladesh continues to rise this morning after a fighter jet crashed into a school. At least 27 people were killed, 25 of them children. Military officials say dozens more were injured at that school in the nation's capital. NBC News chief international correspondent Richard Engel has the latest.
The pilot of the F-7 fighter jet was on a training flight and smashed into the K-12 school just after takeoff. First responders combed through the charred building. The plane crash happened in the middle of the afternoon while the school was full of teachers and students. I was picking up my kids and I heard something coming from behind. When I looked back, I only saw smoke and fire, this teacher said. Parents rushed to find and pick up their children, while others watched recovery efforts in horror. Jewel found his daughter alive amid the wreckage. When I came here, I saw there was a huge fire and the dead body of a child, he said. In a statement, the military said the aircraft had a technical malfunction. The pilot was killed, along with at least 20 students and teachers.
Richard Engel for that report. An initial report by the armed services said the pilot tried to steer the plane to a less densely populated area. The military says more details will be released after an investigation.
Well, in a stunning legal development, the man found guilty for the 1979 murder and kidnapping of 6-year-old Eitan Pates that horrified New York City could soon get a new trial or even walk free. Those are the orders of a federal appeals court which overturned the 2017 conviction against Pedro Hernandez yesterday. He has been serving a sentence of 25 years to life. The Manhattan DA's office now says it's reviewing that decision. NBC News correspondent Stephanie Gosk explains.
6-year-old Eitan Pates disappeared on May 25, 1979, on his way to the school bus stop in New York City. The crime shocked the country. He was never found.
Eitan simply disappeared.
Nearly 40 years later, in 2017, the state of New York convicted former shop clerk Pedro Hernandez. Pates' father speaking after the murder verdict.
It's about time. It really is.
But tonight, a federal appeals court has overturned the conviction. In its ruling, the 3-judge panel says instructions given to the jury during deliberations prejudiced the verdict.
It is really, really rare that this happens because the legal standard is so stringent. There has to be judicial error, but also that error must be harmful or have mattered.
With no physical evidence, the case focused on a confession. According to today's decision, Hernandez, who has a history of mental illness, admitted to the crime after approximately 7 hours of questioning before being read his Miranda rights. Investigators recorded him admitting to the crime again after he was read his rights. But Hernandez ultimately recanted, and questions surrounding that confession led to a hung jury when the case was first tried in 2015. In 2017, Hernandez was convicted. His defense team writing in a statement, "For more than 13 years, Pedro Hernandez has been in prison for a crime he did not commit, and based on a conviction that the Second Circuit has now made clear was obtained in clear violation of law." Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
For more on this, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Angela Sanadella. Angela, thank you so much for being here. So can you just break down the part that this new decision kind of all hinges on here, this part about jury instructions?
Yeah, so it has to do with the Miranda rights. So we all know that before suspects are interrogated, they have to be read their Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. But what police officers, many of them were doing for years, is that they would interrogate without the Miranda rights, get a confession, and then they would read the Miranda rights, get a repetition of the confession, then they would submit that secondary confession as admissible evidence. Now, in 2004, the Supreme Court ruled that this practice was just wildly unconstitutional and that secondary repetitive confession is more often than not inadmissible because it's a fruit of a totally unconstitutional process. And so what happened here is that the jury asked the judge, is there a problem with the secondary confession, given that the first one was obtained prior to this Miranda warning? Now, they didn't use that exact wording, but that's essentially what they asked the judge. And the judge just said no. And this was during deliberations. So obviously that was in direct contradiction to Supreme Court precedent, which is what the appellate court is saying here.
So if there is a retrial, essentially what could happen with the confession? And if there is no confession, does the prosecution have a case?
Right. So it would likely be considered inadmissible here. Now, the Supreme Court didn't say in every single situation it is inadmissible. It's just more often than not, most likely it is not. So if there was a retrial, the defense would likely raise this and get it struck. And if there is no confession, look, there's really no other evidence in this case. There's no physical evidence. There's no digital evidence. It really relied and hinged on this confession.
I want to read something. This is from Hernandez's legal representative in a statement. They said, "We are grateful careful. The court has now given Pedro a chance to get his life back. I call upon the Manhattan District Attorney's Office to drop these misguided charges and focus their efforts where they belong, on finding those actually responsible for the disappearance of Eitan Pates. So the DA says that it's considering the federal appeals court ruling that this story was this moment that changed New York. Where do you think this goes next, given all that?
I think it's going to be very difficult for this DA to retry this case, given, again, just the lack of additional evidence. But it's always up to the DA's discretion. Also, it wasn't this DA who brought the case, right? It was actually the last DA. And so there's, a fair amount of wiggle room there where he can just say that was Cyrus Vance's decision and I'm making a new one.
All right, Angela Sanadella, thank you so much.
The former Louisville police officer who fired into Breonna Taylor's home during a botched raid in 2020 has been sentenced to nearly 3 years behind bars. Brett Hankinson was sentenced to 33 months yesterday after he was convicted last year of deprivation of rights under color of law in connection with the raid that killed Taylor. Prosecutors say Hankinson fired through a window and sliding glass door that was covered with a curtain. The shots hit a wall and traveled into an apartment next door. Taylor was killed by shots from other officers who were not charged in the case. Hankinson will also serve 3 years probation after his prison term ends. The Justice Department last week said the former cop should be sentenced to a single day in prison, time he had already served, arguing that he posed no threat to the public. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, screen time concerns. Researchers sounding the alarm on the impact of smartphones on preteens, what experts want parents to know.
Up first, though, after the break, desperation and starvation in war-torn Gaza. A look at the growing humanitarian crisis as the fighting rages on. We'll be right back. We are back with the latest on the ground in Gaza. Israeli tanks rolled into the central Gazan city Deir al-Balah on Monday for the first time since the war began. The area is home to Palestinians who've been displaced throughout the almost 2-year-long war. And this comes as health workers warn that the hunger crisis in the enclave has escalated, quote, alarmingly in recent weeks. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, more than 1,000 people have been killed while waiting for aid in Gaza, while dozens more, including children, have died from malnutrition. For more on this, let's bring in NBC News international correspondent Matt Bradley. He's in Tel Aviv for us. Matt, good morning. So let's start with the latest here on these actions from the Israeli military I mentioned. So Israeli media says the IDF has been reluctant to carry out ground operations in this area in central Gaza again up until yesterday because the remaining hostages taken captive by Hamas may be held there. So how did this unfold yesterday, and how are families of hostages responding?
That's right. The Deir al-Balah area wasn't just something that they thought that hostages might actually be living in or being held captive in. It had also been used as a sort of a humanitarian zone up until now, up until yesterday when we saw this new venture by the Israeli military into Deir al-Balah. That really dismantles the last real place that hadn't been touched by the Israeli military in the Gaza Strip. And as you mentioned, the fact that the Israeli military suspects that some of the hostages might be hidden inside Deir al-Balah, well, that has elicited a pretty strong response from the hostages' families. They are demanding an explanation from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. In fact, they demanded that he step forward and actually address the country in the last couple of days and explain why the military was moving into Deir al-Balah and why the military was putting their loved ones, they say, at risk.
Also, Matt, let's talk about this number that I mentioned, these deaths out of Gaza from malnutrition or deaths that are just near sites where somebody's trying to seek aid. Tell us more about the severity of the situation there and any response and explanation we're hearing for why this keeps happening when civilians are trying to get food.
Well, as you know, because we've been talking about this for a year and a half now, there's been percolating concerns about famine for quite a while. Famine-like conditions have been spread throughout the Gaza Strip. There have been people who have died of malnutrition before this, but now we're seeing it at a higher level, which is interesting because, of course, there was an 11-week-long blockade earlier this year where Gazan residents had nothing, no food, no water from outside, no medicine, no fuel, all of it cut off completely. Now some is getting in through a new aid regime backed by the U.S. and Israel through an international organization that's registered in the United States, but that is pretty opaque and that has come under a lot of criticism for its methods. So when we keep seeing mass shootings, both at UN stations and at stations for distributing aid for this Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, that's the name of the institution, we're seeing huge bloodletting on an almost daily basis, dozens of people. So the problem in Gaza isn't just the lack of food. It's the trying to stay alive, trying to avoid famine can actually get you killed.
Matt, and the hunger situation is drawing international outrage. More than 20 countries now have issued this joint statement. This was just yesterday, condemning Israel over the, quote, inhumane killing of Gaza civilians at these aid distribution sites. They called for an immediate end to the war. Tell us more about this statement. Who's involved, what it says?
Yeah, this is 28 different countries who signed on to this statement, including Western European countries. Really, just about every European country. We saw Japan, Australia, Canada were also signatories. The United States was not. And we heard from Mike Huckabee, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, calling the statement disgusting and irrational. This is something that the Israelis have also rejected. The Israelis have said consistently that Hamas is to blame for the enduring hunger and hardship in the Gaza Strip right now. They say that if Hamas would release all the remaining hostages, that things would get a lot better. Of course, the Israelis' intention is to completely destroy Hamas, and they have made this clear in hostage negotiations for the past year and a half. They will not leave the Gaza Strip until Hamas has been completely dismantled and all of those remaining hostages totally free. So this is a very difficult situation for the people of Gaza, because negotiators right now are at the same impasse that they've been at for the better part of the last year and a half, even though we have seen repeated ceasefires ever since those October 7th attacks in 2023 started off all of this. But the intransigence on both sides, compounded by the worsening humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip, we've now heard from health authorities there in Gaza, which is ruled by Hamas, that a little more than 100 people have already died of hunger in this war. 80 of them are children. Those numbers are likely to go up, as we're seeing, as you mentioned, more than a dozen killed from hunger in just the past day or two.
All right, Matt Bradley, thank you very much for your reporting here. Well, a notorious Ecuadorian drug lord is now officially in U.S. custody. The cartel kingpin known as Fito was captured and extradited to the U.S. after being on the run for more than a year. He's facing international drug and weapons charges. Prosecutors say he is a ruthless leader, infamous for using extreme violence. NBC News correspondent George Solis has the details around his capture.
An Ecuadorian man the U.S. Department of Justice says was the leader of one of the country's most violent gangs responsible for international chaos and bloodshed, facing a New York City judge. 45-year-old Jose Adolfo Macias Villamar, known as Fito, pleading not guilty to federal charges related to international drug and weapons trafficking. Federal prosecutors describing him as a ruthless leader, adding the defendant and his co-conspirators flooded the United States with drugs and used extreme measures of violence in their quest for power and control. DOJ officials say Fito is the kingpin behind Los Choneros, a criminal organization out of Ecuador. The accused gang leader was known to throw parties with alcohol and cockfighting inside Ecuadorian prison while serving a 34-year sentence. Sending video messages to the public, even from behind bars with guards by his side. Macias escaping from the country in January of 2024, prompting a state of emergency in the country, as well as this 2024 TV station takeover from the gang known as La Firma. After being on the run for a year and a half, Ecuadorian authorities recapturing Macias after he was tracked down to an underground bunker in the city of Manta. He's seen here on the ground, cuffed hands behind his back and surrounded by armed guards. Ecuador's Minister of Defense saying Macias was the nation's most wanted criminal, calling his capture a victory, adding it took time and a lot of effort to achieve. Now he is one of the first to be extradited to the United States from Ecuador and will remain in an undetermined U.S. prison until his trial.
His attorney telling NBC News he is eager to review the evidence in the case, including claims that his client was involved in the straw purchases of firearms in the U.S. when he's never been here. Now, according to court documents, federal prosecutors say because of the severity of the crimes, the weight of the evidence, the fact that he had no legal status, and his efforts to avoid law enforcement, Fito will remain in custody until his trial. Back to you.
All right, George, thank you. Well, coming up, major developments in the fight against Alzheimer's disease. New research shows cancer drugs could help slow cognitive decline. What it could mean for millions of patients and their families. You're watching Morning News Now. We're back now with our weekly mental health check-in. This week, we're going to look at a new study that shows the impact of smartphones on younger children, something we talk about a lot. We're also going to tell you how one city in Asia is trying to alleviate feelings of loneliness for its older residents. For more, let's bring in our friend of the show, licensed marriage and family therapist, Dr. George James. Just the best. Good morning, Dr. James. Great to see you as always. Let's start with this study exploring how smartphones impact younger kids' mental health. It was a big one. It looked at over 100,000 preteens, and it was over a period of several years. What did this study reveal?
Good morning, Savannah. Yes, this study that looked at over 100,000 young people recognized that if our young people under the age of 13 had smartphones, they were more likely to experience symptoms of mental health challenges, of depression, of suicidality, of maybe experience cyberbullying, as well as maybe having poor family relationships. It's not saying just that phones are the cause, but it's a major cause because they get access to social media and so many other things, and they need some support, and that after 13 might be actually best for our young people going forward.
Ooh, yeah, there's that whole movement, wait until 8, I think it's called, meaning the 8th grade, which you're about 13 years old, 14 when you head off to high school. Certainly helpful in a lot of ways, at least research shows. Okay, let's talk about adults now. A lot of companies offer resources like counseling over the phone or paid time off to help with mental health, but so many of us might not even know about it, never mind take advantage of it. Why is that, and what do you think companies can do to help encourage their workers to actually use it or create an environment where somebody feels like, okay, hey, I'm actually going to exercise that option because it's good for me?
You know, we've come a long way with how we talk about mental health, and the stigma has decreased, but there's still a lot of stigma, especially also in our workplaces. Employees are looking to their colleagues, their bosses, to see how they address mental health. So we need to really model this behavior. We need to be able to talk about it within our workplaces. We need to be able to provide the resources and make people feel like it's okay. Because if more people at work feel like it's okay to talk about their mental health, they are more productive, the company does better, everybody does better. So we really want to talk openly about mental health and offer the support and make it something that is easy to access so that people can be better.
Finally, the city of Seoul, South Korea has come up with a way to help their older residents feel less lonely. Dr. James, we've talked about this a lot here. Loneliness, it is a big issue for older people. I mean, even I think in ways that people don't understand just how bad it can be for your health, especially at that stage in life. Remind us how important this is and tell us what Seoul's doing.
Yeah, loneliness has been an increasing factor for depression and just feeling overwhelmed. And we see here in Seoul that their loneliness there are a number of folks who are by themselves has increased significantly. And when you're by yourself, that can also make you have negative thoughts or just be alone and social isolation. So what they've done is create opportunities for people to come together and not actually need to talk to someone, but engage. Maybe it's a foot spa, maybe it's at a store where there's other people, where you just feel like you're not by yourself. And that can increase you're less likely to feel social isolation. So not just in Seoul, but across the world, we need to really factor on decreasing loneliness and making people feel more included and connected.
Exactly. Everybody take note of that and help those maybe also who are older and maybe don't have a lot of people in their life around you. Dr. James, thank you very much. Always great to see you.
Same here. Thank you.
Well, let's stay with health news now. There is a potential medical breakthrough to treat Alzheimer's disease. So more than 7 million Americans over the age of 65 are currently living with the disease, and 1 in 3 older adults will die with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. Well, now a new study shows that combining 2 drugs, get this though, that are usually used to treat cancer could dramatically slow down cognitive decline. They're on your screen right now. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel joins us with more from the study. Dr. Patel, always great to see you. So, okay, we're going to get into those drugs in just a moment. First, though, explain how patients with Alzheimer's are currently treated in the U.S., if there is an effective treatment.
Yeah, Savannah, you already mentioned how many seniors we see over the age of 65 in the United States alone. Right now, there's no cure for Alzheimer's, but there are treatments, but they are not there are not many of them, and they really concentrate, generally speaking, in the kind of the early stages, early in the kind of mild dementia progression. So when you have later stages of Alzheimer's, there's really not that much other than some symptom alleviation. So the treatments that we have right now are limited, few, and must be done early, which is why it can be so problematic to find Alzheimer's in older patients, because we often get it too late.
So with that context, I mean, this sounds like a pretty big deal, but just put it in context for us, if it really is, how excited you are about this. And what these two cancer drugs are. How would they work in an Alzheimer's treatment? Is there any concern here?
Yeah, this was a big breakthrough in publications because of scientists in California who were really looking at over 1,300 different types of drugs, including the cancer drugs that we showed, letrozole and irinotecan, used for breast and colon and lung cancers, respectively. And these were two of the drugs out of the 1,300 in mice. So I want to be careful to show that this was in animal studies that were shown to both kind of reverse some of the changes with mice that were predisposed to get Alzheimer's, as well as improve memory function in the mice that did have Alzheimer's. And it was in combination. The reason this is a big breakthrough, Savannah, is not just because these are potentially new treatments that we hadn't had before, but all the treatments that I had mentioned really do settle in on the neurons, kind of the nerve cells, the powerhouse of your brain. These cancer drugs operate in many stages, not just the nerve cells, but in the supporting cells, even at the hormone levels. Letrozole, for example, is used in breast cancer to reduce estrogen levels. One might not think that that could have anything to do with Alzheimer's, but it turns out Alzheimer's is a really complex disease with lots of parts of your body and brain involved. That's why these cancer treatments are important in animal studies. So it's still early, but very promising.
Is it risky at all? Do we think that these are cancer drugs being used to treat a neurological disease?
Yeah, I think that the risks cannot be kind of like overlooked here. So these are drugs, letrozole and irinotecan, that have their own risks. In fact, one of the risks with those two cancer drugs are actually neurological problems. So you can imagine that when we're thinking about applying this to a mainly neurological disease like Alzheimer's, that this could potentially make things worse. So I do think that that's why having the animal study is kind of the very first step. And I think we have to see what happens in some of these human trials and human studies. But needless to say, we just don't have a lot compared to cancer that we can offer Alzheimer's. So it's a big deal.
Any timeline, you think? Do we have any idea when we could see those human trials?
So those human trials, now that these kind of animal trials, not one and done, but these animal trials give us some proof of concept, if you will. And then human trials, generally speaking, can take anywhere from 18 months to several years. So what I tell patients, it's hard to do this because if you've got someone you know, which probably every one of us do, that has Alzheimer's or some form of dementia, you want help now. But this is probably going to be, unfortunately, an active patients with years in waiting. However, I do recommend that people look and talk to their doctors about clinical trials. We couldn't do any of this work without the volunteers we have for clinical trials.
Wow, such a good reminder. Dr. Patel, thank you so much. Fascinating stuff.
Take care.
Coming up, it could be the future of everyday fashion.
A game changer. I mean,
how much time would you have spent putting that together?
I wouldn't have. I'd be putting on sweatpants and a t-shirt.
Up next, how AI is making fashionistas' dream closet a reality. Morning News Now. We'll be right back.
A traffic stop in Jacksonville, Florida that ended with a violent confrontation between police and the driver is sparking controversy. The incident was caught on camera and posted to social media. It's now been viewed more than 4 million times and is raising new questions around police tactics. But the Jacksonville Sheriff's Department says the video does not tell the whole story. NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra has the details, and we should warn you, the video is disturbing.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands. Here.
Violent moments captured on camera during a traffic stop in Jacksonville, Florida. This February video going viral after driver William McNeil Jr., who filmed it inside of his car, posted it Sunday, drawing swift reaction since. It shows an interaction with police already in progress, including the moment an officer breaks McNeil's window and strikes him in the face.
Can you call your supervisor? All right, go for it. Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands. Here.
But the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says that the video doesn't tell the whole story.
Social media is not reality. One video clip devoid of context can be very misleading.
The sheriff releasing officer-worn body camera footage showing McNeil pulled over for driving without headlights in the rain. They say he wouldn't provide his license and registration.
I'm about to break the window.
You can hear officers repeatedly warning McNeil that if he did not comply with getting out of the vehicle, they would break his window and put him under arrest.
Open the door and exit, or we are going to break the window. Open the door and exit, or we are going to break the window. What is your reason, sir? Step out. What is your reason? No.
The sheriff says none of the involved officers violated criminal law, but an administrative review is ongoing.
Yes, there absolutely was force used by the arresting officers, and yes, that force is ugly. And just because force is ugly does not mean it's unlawful.
NBC News has not spoken to McNeil directly, but his lawyer says he's still recovering.
His teeth actually went through his lip when he was slammed to the ground. So he's still recovering and dealing with those injuries.
His attorney says they plan on filing a lawsuit. Marissa Parra, NBC News.
Now let's get to what's making financial headlines this morning. Global pharma giant AstraZeneca is teasing a hefty investment in the U.S.
CNBC's Savannah now has that and some other money news. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Savannah. Good morning to you. Yeah, so AstraZeneca is pledging to invest $50 billion in the U.S. by 2030. It's the latest move by an international pharmaceutical company ahead of President Trump potentially imposing tariffs on imports of foreign-made drugs. AstraZeneca, which is based in the UK, will boost manufacturing and research operations, including a multi-billion-dollar center in Virginia. The Trump administration is carrying out a so-called Section 232 probe into the national security implications of imports of drugs and their ingredients, which may lead to tariffs as high as 200%. Paramount striking a $1.5 billion deal with the South Park creators for the global streaming rights to the longtime popular animated show. The LA Times reports the deal would bring the show over to Paramount Plus from its current streaming home on HBO Max. Paramount and the show's creators have declined comment, but the deal comes just before the new season of South Park premieres tomorrow on Comedy Central. PepsiCo is launching its own prebiotic soda. The Pepsi Prebiotic Cola contains 5 grams of cane sugar, 30 calories, and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber in a 12-ounce can. It will be available starting this fall in Original Cola and Cherry Vanilla. Now, prebiotic soda has boomed in recent years with popular brands like Poppy and Bloom promoted as healthy for the gut and better than traditional sodas. PepsiCo announced it was buying Poppy earlier this year for just under $2 billion, guys.
Wow. Different soda wars than I remember as a kid.
Very different. Very different. And I still haven't tried any of these.
I
so
haven't
I have
either,
no
but I am so curious. But I'm just
curious.
like, I'm mostly a water drinker, so why?
Same.
Add it, you know?
Yeah.
Thanks, Silvana.
Yeah.
All right, well, as a fan of the movie Clueless and specifically Cher's clothing catalog system, this next story is near and dear to my heart. There's a new technology that's bringing that dream into your closet. AI Stylist. It's an artificial intelligence-powered app that acts as a one-stop shop for people to get personalized fashion advice without breaking the bank. NBC News correspondent Erin McLaughlin shows us how it works.
I mean, I get up, I brush my teeth, and I pick out my school clothes.
Back in the 90s, Cher Horowitz's electronically cataloged closet in the movie Clueless was a teenager's dream. 30 years later, that dream is now a reality for stay-at-home mom of 3, Kat DeVito.
Do you feel like Cher? I do. I really do.
Now one of thousands turning to AI for style advice. Kat is a so-called super user of an app called Alta, which has helped her catalog her entire closet.
It's as easy as just taking a picture.
Alta acts as an AI stylist available 24/7, suggesting coordinated outfits from her closet in seconds. All it needs is a written prompt.
3-year-old birthday party.
Age specific. It does impact the choices.
Yes. So then it shows me birthday poolside glam is one of the options. So it shows me.
And these are all things you have in your closet.
These are all things that I have in my closet. But it also gives you little notes.
So it explains its choices.
Exactly.
The selections are based on a number of factors, including your personal style preferences, the weather forecast, how recently you've worn the item, and like in Clueless, it even lets you create your very own AI-generated avatar to model its outfit selections.
If somebody says, what are you going to wear tomorrow, I can just share the avatar.
Ulta is part of a growing wave of AI-powered apps shaking up the fashion industry. Free to download, it uses AI to suggest shoppable links to complement clothing already in your closet, taking a cut of the profits from every purchase. It's a $127 million market with an estimated growth of more than $2 billion by the year 2034, according to Insight Ace Analytics. Fashion lover Jenny Wang had the idea of the app to help her style her own closet.
You know, styling used to be something that only was really accessible to celebrities on a daily basis, and to be able to hopefully democratize the technology and experience is really exciting.
Wang says her team of 8 engineers built the app in just 2 years, now partnering with some of the big names in the fashion business through the Council of Fashion Designers of America. And she says they're just getting started. The latest feature, helping plan your vacation wardrobe.
You tell it what activities you're doing, and then it will generate your packing list.
Ulta's also giving makeup recommendations?
In the future. We can explore it.
As for Kat's look for the pool party.
And so what do you think of this outfit?
It's a great one. I like the shorts. They have little seashells on them. It's a game changer. I mean,
how much time would you have spent putting that together?
I wouldn't have. I'd be putting on sweatpants and a t-shirt. You know? I feel like a cool mom now.
Erin McLaughlin, NBC News, New York.
Stay with us, though. The news continues right now. Good morning. Thanks for starting off your Tuesday with us. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, a wet and wild swath of severe weather bringing some hot heat. We're talking triple-digit temps to millions of Americans across the South as relentless rain pounds the plains. Our Angie Lastman is tracking it all for you and when cooler conditions could blow on in. Also this morning, an explosive new one-on-one interview with Hunter Biden, sending shockwaves throughout Washington and beyond. The former president's son taking aim at current President Trump, as well as top Democrats who he says were disloyal to his father. He's also shedding new light on that shaky debate performance that sent Mr. Biden's 2024 campaign into a political tailspin. More on that in just a moment. Some tough news for your wallet. Beef prices at your local grocery store are soaring to record highs. So what does that mean for your next summer barbecue? We'll have you beefing with the bill. We're breaking down some new numbers and how you can keep cookout costs low. Plus, later in the hour, comedian Jon Stewart's searing rebuttal after his parent company cancels the late-night show of his longtime friend Stephen Colbert, and the poignant show of force that brought together some of the biggest names in late night on a single stage. An interesting story that just continues to develop. Some of the biggest names in late night showing up in Colbert's audience last night, showing their support for him.
Very cool. You're going to bring us that in a little bit.
All right, let's begin this morning with the brutal heat wave that is baking parts of the country. The South and Plains states could see dangerously high temperatures in the triple digits with a heat index pushing more than 112 degrees. That includes Florida, where the National Weather Service has issued a major level 3 heat advisory, and it's telling people to consider canceling any outdoor plans today.
But then get this, meanwhile in the mid-Atlantic and Midwest, it's severe storms and flash flooding still that are causing the most concern. Rescue crews in several states have been pulling people from stuck cars, and at least one person in Kansas was killed when she couldn't escape the fast-rising floodwaters. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson is in Houston this morning, where it is expected to get hot. She joins us with the latest. Hey, Priscilla, good morning.
Yeah, Savannah, Joe, good morning. The sun is barely up here, and already we are teetering on 80 degrees, and you can feel the humidity in the air. As you can see, these folks have the right idea. They're in the pool early, getting those laps in before the sun comes out and really sort of bears down on all of us, as across the country, millions are bracing for yet another sweltering day. This morning, oppressive heat and humidity, making for a midsummer nightmare for millions of Americans.
It is going to be sweltering out there with the high temperatures and the high humidity.
That 1-2 punch producing triple-digit temps from Kansas to Mississippi, with some places with heat up to 112 degrees.
It is enormously hot. When I looked on the car, it said 101 degrees.
More than 60 million people are under heat alerts. And Climate Central finds that now nearly half of the U.S. population is at least 3 times more likely to experience extreme heat due to climate change.
Wear hats, wear sunblock, make sure that you wear light clothing as opposed to darker clothing, and also look for shade.
And heat isn't the only threat.
Yeah, this is bad.
Torrential rain and fast-moving floodwaters killed a 62-year-old woman in Overland Park, Kansas, police say.
I don't know how fast the current was going, but it was fast. Like, that would be hard for a grown man, let alone a small, older woman to handle.
Prompting daring boat rescues like this one in Kansas City, where crews managed to reach this woman just in time. As some work to stay dry and others to keep cool amid this July fry.
Also, the water helps, so the kids can play, have fun.
Guys, if you are not like these folks who are up early trying to beat the heat and you're planning to be out today in the sun, of course, you want to watch out for those signs of heat stroke, the dry, red skin when you're not sweating, potentially headaches, dizziness, all of that. And of course, you can avoid heat stroke by doing things like staying hydrated, taking breaks, not going out during the hottest parts of the day. I personally might take a note from these folks and hop in the pool later on today. Joe,
I do
Savannah?
not blame you. Priscilla, thank you.
Those are some early morning swimmers there, dedicated. All right, let's get to NBC meteorologist Angie Lassman.
Yeah, she's keeping a close eye on this dangerous heat for us. Hey, Angie, good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning. No surprise, those heat alerts continue to grow this morning, now including 62 million people under these alerts. They range from heat advisories to heat watches and heat warnings. Those heat warnings, the most concerning, of course, with heat index values likely to hit 115 or higher in that area. Some of these are going to last through the next couple of days. This isn't just a one and done kind of the situation for many of these locations. We're going to see multiple days of 90+ degree temperatures and heat index values over 100 in a couple of these spots. Some of those locations include St. Louis, Little Rock, Birmingham. Notice the heat index that you're expecting in Tallahassee today. It's Florida, of course, but these numbers are a little more elevated than they should be for this time of year. And we've got 90s in Fort Worth, but feeling like over 100 through the day today. And as we get into tomorrow, more of the same essentially. We'll have a little more folks farther to the east included in this, but even still, from the Great Lakes to the Midwest, down through parts of the plains and along the Gulf Coast, temperatures well into the 90s, if not triple digits in some spots, and feeling like 100+ in most of these locations. As we get into the later parts of the work week and into the early part of our weekend, we'll see not a whole lot of improvement. We've still got those 90s for Thursday and Friday in Indianapolis. Detroit on Thursday hits 94 degrees. And even Washington, D.C. and New York will linger into the 90s all the way through the early part of our weekend. So add in the humidity levels. And of course, you're talking about high 90s, if not triple digits for heat index values in those locations as well. So multiple days where we're really going to have to take it slow, find the cool spots. You heard Priscilla giving some advice on that. And especially if you live in any of these locations that are shaded in the red or the purple. The purple is the extreme risk. That's when we were talking about long duration heat exposure being deadly. So you can see some of that occurring across parts of the South, Tennessee, in parts of Arkansas, stretching down to New Orleans. And then we have the major risk that's in that red shade, which we will watch for the impacts for heat related health concerns. So watching for the vulnerable vulnerable populations rather, kids, elderly, and such is going to be good advice through the day today. On top of that, we've also got the chance to see some of those stronger storms develop. It's not a huge area, but it does include a couple million people, and it's across parts of the upper Midwest. So this morning, some of those thunderstorms across Minnesota. We'll see the potential for some of those stronger storms to develop into the afternoon and evening. So heads up there. This is really the risk area that we're looking, stretching from Montana back to Minnesota, including a sliver of Wisconsin as well. So hail, wind gusts are going to be the main threat, but not going to rule out a couple of tornadoes as well. So having a way to get those alerts is going to be a good idea for that region. And if we look ahead to tomorrow, another good chunk of the country will see that same kind of threat. So the front works a little farther across the upper Midwest, slowly but surely. And essentially anywhere from Denver to Minneapolis could see the chance for some of these stronger storms. It stretches up into the upper peninsula of Michigan, and the hail in the wind, once again, going to be the threat, but tornadoes on the low side, but it's not zero. So just a heads up about that if you're looking ahead. On top of that, of course, guys, we've got some heavy rain associated with it. So we'll watch for the flooding concern as well.
Gosh, so much going on. Just important to remind people about that flood risk.
And having a way to get the alerts.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Former President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, is opening up in a wide-ranging brand new interview. In it, he discusses President Trump's first 6 months of his second term. He also offers an explanation as to what happened before President Biden took to the stage last June, a halting performance that eventually forced Mr. Biden to drop out of the 2024 race. NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Hake joins us with the details. Garrett, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. And yeah, Monday marked 1 year since former President Biden dropped his re-election bid following that debate collapse against Donald Trump. Now, Hunter Biden, who was convicted last year of 3 felony charges connected to his purchase of a gun in 2018 and later pardoned by his father, is returning to the political stage. In a new profanity-laced interview, the younger Biden is taking on the current president and trying to settle scores with Democrats he says were disloyal to his dad. Hunter Biden, unleashed and unfiltered, the son of former President Joe Biden, in a profanity-filled podcast interview unloading on President Trump.
He's a dictator.
Denouncing Trump's mass deportation efforts targeting millions of undocumented migrants in the U.S.
They figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance. And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the criminals.
The White House press secretary firing back on Fox News.
Clearly, they've learned nothing from President Trump's overwhelming victory on November 5th. The American people want deportations. They want secure borders.
It has been 1 year since his father dropped out of the presidential race in the wake of that disastrous debate performance against President Trump. Now Hunter Biden is seemingly trying to settle scores, lashing out at high-profile Democrats he says were disloyal to his dad, including actor George Clooney, who publicly urged Biden to drop out.
Him and everybody around him. George Clooney is not a actor. He is a I don't know what he is. He's a brand.
And former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, citing her opposition to Kamala Harris as the new Democratic nominee.
Nancy Pelosi didn't want her to be, which undermined her, which undermined the campaign.
Hunter also addressing his father's struggle on the debate stage.
We finally beat Medicare.
Asserting that the president's use of the sleep aid Ambien, taken after extensive foreign travel, played a role.
He's 81 years old. He's tired as They give him Ambien to be able to sleep. He gets up on the stage, and he looks like he's a deer in the headlights.
The former president's office had no comment on the interview. As on the 1 year anniversary of Biden dropping out of the race, Hunter Biden brought his father's age back into the spotlight, denying claims that the White House hid anything about the president's health.
And what's the conspiracy?
Yeah.
That Joe Biden got old? Yeah, he got old. He got old before our eyes.
A source close to Nancy Pelosi tells NBC News that while the former speaker did endorse Kamala Harris early, she also had argued that an open Democratic primary would have strengthened Harris's bid. No comment yet from Clooney, who was obviously name-checked in that interview. Some other Democrats who were mentioned have suggested it's simply time to move on. Joe?
All right, Garrett, thank you.
Well, now to the tragic death of beloved actor Malcolm Jamal Warner, who authorities say drowned while on vacation with his family in Costa Rica. NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch has made his way there to Costa Rica. He has the latest on the investigation, as well as a look back at Malcolm Jamal Warner's life and career. Jesse, good morning.
Savannah, good morning. This is the beach where this shocking incident unfolded over the weekend. And you can see behind me right now, there is a red flag up telling beachgoers to not go in the water. And of course, those flags can change with conditions throughout the day. But there's a sign when we pulled up to the beach here that warns people about the risk of the current, about the risk of going in these waters. And of course, we now know that for Malcolm Jamal Warner, going in these waters over the weekend proved to be deadly. A source close to the actor tells us that he was on vacation with his wife and his young daughter when a day at the beach went terribly wrong.
This morning, fans and co-stars are mourning the shocking death of Malcolm Jamal Warner, the actor best known as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Costa Rican officials say Warner drowned Sunday afternoon in the province of Limon. According to investigators, the 54-year-old was swept away by the sea's current before bystanders were able to pull him out of the water. But he had no vital signs.
I'll be in my room, Suzanne.
Warner was just 14 when he landed the role that would cement his place in television history, playing the lovably naive Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show.
Look at these sleeves.
Over 8 seasons, Warner's coming-of-age antics became a favorite among fans.
How did you like the real world?
Well, it's a lot tougher than I thought it was. But you know what? So am I.
Warner stopping by today, just before the show wrapped in 1992.
The show has given me a wonderful opportunity to be able to grow and to be able to kind of show what I can do.
He later addressed the show's complicated legacy after its star Bill Cosby was accused and convicted of sexual assault. That conviction later overturned.
The effect that it had on Black people worldwide can never be taken away.
Cosby speaking about Warner overnight, saying he and co-star Felicia Rashad have been remembering Warner.
Malcolm was always embracing relationships with everybody he worked with.
After his early success, Warner kept acting, including alongside Tracee Ellis Ross in Read Between the Lines. On Monday, she wrote, "My heart is so, so sad. You made the world a brighter place." Beyond his on-screen career, he also worked as a poet and musician, even earning a Grammy. Just last year, he launched the Not All Hood podcast, looking at the experiences of Black Americans, and reflected on today about his life after early fame.
And I've got my head on straight, my soul and dignity is intact. Like, I've had a really wonderful journey.
In one of his final Instagram videos, Warner sending an uplifting message to his fans.
Just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile. Peace and love, and I'll be back soon.
The source close to the actor says that all signs point to this having been a tragic accident. Meanwhile, the Costa Rican Red Cross says that a second man was also treated here and that individual was taken to a local clinic in critical condition. Savannah?
All right, Jesse, thank you so much.
Some of the biggest names in comedy are throwing their support behind late-night talk show host Stephen Colbert. Just last week, Colbert announced CBS will pull the plug on his show next year. Well, last night, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, Jon Stewart, John Oliver, and Adam Sandler, to name a few, all took over the audience of The Late Show in a display of solidarity. Overnight, a star-filled show of unity as Stephen Colbert reflected on last week's stunning cancellation of The Late Show.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. Cancel culture has gone too far.
He was joined by a team of talk show rivals, showing Colbert their support with a string of cameo appearances in last night's show. The group took part in a parody of the recent Coldplay concert Kiss Cam incident.
You got a funny parody, Al?
No, I can't think of anything funnier than Coldplay.
Colbert introduced Lin-Manuel Miranda and Weird Al Yankovic to play some music to cheer up disappointed fans.
This isn't about us. This is about the audience.
The cameras scanning the crowd, landing on several famous spectators, including NBC's Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers, Adam Sandler, and John Oliver and Jon Stewart, two of Colbert's fellow alumni from The Daily Show, who've also been speaking out against the cancellation of the show. On his show Monday, Stewart bashed the decision, saying it's politically motivated after Colbert criticized the Trump administration.
You're afraid, and you protect your bottom line. I've got but one thing to say, just one little phrase. Tell him, go yourself.
CBS executives released a statement last week calling the cancellation, quote, purely a financial decision. Oliver is also mourning the cancellation, speaking to NBC News over the weekend.
There were many of us working in late night now that were raised on that show under David Letterman. There will be many future comedy writers that were raised on what Stephen has done with it now. So the fact that that's going to get taken away is kind of heartbreaking.
Well, Letterman shared a 20-minute video of different moments of himself speaking against CBS and its actions back when he was the original host of The Late Show.
Our relationship, I think, pretty solid with the network up until last night.
On Monday, Colbert acknowledged the support.
I just want to take a minute to, again, thank everybody.
And the stars rallying around him for some laughs.
I'm sorry. I just got this note from corporate.
What's going on?
Give me a second. Your song has been canceled.
What? Why?
I don't know. Hold on. It says here, this is a purely financial decision. I want to thank you so much for being here, on my last show.
Stephen, you're here for 10 more months.
Oh, right.
And last night, Colbert responded to CBS's claim that the decision to cancel the show is purely financial, beyond the sketch you saw there. He called it confusing, asking how could it be financial if his show is #1 in the ratings. Now, much of the anger we're seeing centers on CBS's parent company, Paramount, recently paying that $16 million settlement with President Trump over a 60 Minutes interview. Colbert has called that a big fat bribe because Paramount needs FCC approval for its multi-billion-dollar merger with Skydance Media. CBS has said the cancellation is not related to the show's performance or content.
So neat to see them all together.
It's good to see them together, and I have a feeling with months to go before the show goes off the air, this isn't the last we're going to hear.
I was just thinking that 10 more months of like a send-off, basically. Pretty cool. Thanks, Joe. Much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including the so-called MAGA bots that largely back President Trump's policies on X. Now split, though, on his administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case.
First, after the break, we're going to take you overseas with the searing joint statement from dozens of nations calling for an end to the war in Gaza. That's up next. Stay with us.
We are back with more than 20 countries, including France and Germany, issuing a joint statement calling for an immediate end to the war in Gaza. The statement, which was published online by the UK government yesterday, offers a strong condemnation of Israel over the, quote, inhumane killing of Gaza civilians at aid distribution sites. Well, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry, more than 1,000 people have been killed while waiting for aid in the enclave. NBC News international correspondent Matt Bradley joins us from Tel Aviv with the details. Matt, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. So Israel has been making new military moves in the center of the Gaza Strip as we're hearing increasing criticism about the humanitarian situation inside Gaza. Here's our report. The war moving into new territory. Israel expanding its operations yesterday to an area in central Gaza for the first time in this war. Israeli officials believe some of the remaining hostages taken during Hamas's October 7th attacks may be held there. The widening assault comes as 28 Western countries, including the UK and France, criticized Israel's drip-feeding of aid and inhumane killing of civilians, including children in Gaza. In response, Israel blamed Hamas for starting the war and prolonging it, saying Hamas is responsible for suffering on both sides. An American ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, slammed the joint statement as irrational and disgusting. It comes after questions over aid in Gaza, after at least 100 people were killed Sunday while waiting for food. The IDF said it fired warning shots against a threat. The White House saying President Trump has a good relationship with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and has called him when he has concerns about Israel's past actions, including strikes in Syria and bombing a church in Gaza.
He wants the killing to end, and he wants to negotiate a ceasefire in this region.
Famine conditions are worsening in Gaza. The World Food Program warned yesterday that a quarter of the population faced famine-like conditions. Palestinian health officials said at least 19 people had died earlier this week from acute hunger. Ambereen Salimi is an American doctor who's been working in Gaza for the past 3 weeks.
I have never seen anything like what I've seen here in Gaza.
Children at this soup kitchen are desperate for food, but the kitchen has closed for the day. Have mercy on us, this woman says. Have mercy on our children. And guys, back to the diplomacy in Israel, Savannah. We're hearing from the White House yesterday that there are still efforts by the president to try to secure the release of those remaining hostages in the Gaza Strip, negotiations over which are still reportedly ongoing. Savannah?
All right, Matt, thank you.
Tragedy in Bangladesh, where the death toll is now in the dozens after a military plane crashed into a school.
NBC international correspondent Claudio Lavanga joins us from Rome with that and more from around the world in 60 seconds. Hey, Claudio, good morning.
Savannah, Joe, good morning. Well, that's absolutely right. On Monday, an Air Force aircraft used for training crashed into the capital of Bangladesh, Dhaka, into a school, killing the pilot and another 26 people at least on the ground, mainly students. Now, the country's military blamed the incident to a technical malfunction suffered by the aircraft moments after takeoff. Let's go now to Ukraine, where Russia has escalated its drones attack. Analysts say that every night Russia batters Ukraine with hundreds of long-range drones, and that number could soon top 1,000 a day. The spike in drone attacks comes as President Trump has threatened Russia to hit it with more sanctions unless it agrees to a peace deal by the beginning of September. Let's end this tour of the world here in Italy, where on Monday a 63-year-old man was freed from a cave 24 hours after he was injured during an expedition. The man was exploring the cave with friends when he was hit and injured by falling rocks at about 130 feet below the surface. Rescuers used explosives to widen the cave and used vertical shafts and a series of narrow, winding passages to get him out. Well, it sounds like a holiday from hell and back. Back to you guys.
At least he got out. There
Yeah,
you go.
I mean, what a rescue. Let's look at it that way. Thanks, Claudio.
Yeah.
The boy who will one day be crowned king of the United Kingdom is celebrating a big birthday today. Prince George, the eldest son of Prince William and Princess Kate, turns 12. And with his teenage years right around the corner now, well, Prince George is slowly starting to prepare for his future role as a monarch. NBC News international correspondent Molly Hunter joins us now from Buckingham Palace with a look at how the prince has celebrated his special day over the years. Molly, good morning.
Joe, good morning to you. That's right. It's a big day here. He's almost a teenager. You got to believe there's some very fun birthday bash happening somewhere. Our invite must have gotten lost, but Kensington Palace did put out a very sweet behind-the-scenes video featuring Prince George and his siblings. Take a look.
This morning, a milestone birthday for the future king, Prince George, turning 12. Kensington Palace sharing a new photo of the beaming young prince snapped in Norfolk earlier this year. As they do every year, the palace posts pictures, often taken by mom, Princess Catherine, of the not-so-little Wales firstborn. Introduced to the world's press on the steps of the hospital in July of 2013, he's been in the public eye from an early age, traveling down under at just 8 months old. The new prince crisscrossing the Commonwealth. And just shy of his third birthday, one of his early blockbuster moments, meeting President Obama in his bathrobe way past bedtime. As he became a big brother twice, the Prince and Princess of Wales introduced the heir to the throne to big royal events. And the little ones too, 3 generations making Christmas pudding with the Queen.
Well, George was put in this position where he had cameras on him, but he was also surrounded by members of his family, and so was able to take cues from them.
George made his procession debut at the Queen's Platinum Jubilee in 2022. In 2023, at just 9 years old, George served as a page of honor at his grandfather's coronation, helping carry the king's robes on the big day, and joining the newly crowned king and queen on the balcony. 2024 was a more private year for the Wales family following Kate's cancer diagnosis.
It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family. It has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay.
As the family worked through it together, we saw less of the Princess of Wales and less of the kids. Though still finding time for a little joy and relief as Kate recovered, Prince William taking George and Charlotte to the Taylor Swift concert, and George joining his father to cheer on his beloved soccer team, Aston Villa.
This is a significant moment in his life as a royal. He's on the cusp of being a teenager. He's getting to grips with his future role, and he's learning the ropes gently and slowly.
We've seen George stepping into the spotlight more this year, joining his parents and the King and Queen at a veterans reception at Buckingham Palace back in May. The Prince of Wales saying George was very interested in hearing their stories. And last week, Prince George and 10-year-old Princess Charlotte joined their parents at Wimbledon to watch the men's finals, an event close to Kate's heart. Seen front and center in the royal box and asking champion Yannick Sinner for his autograph. Over the years, the youngest members of the royal family stealing the show, and that's not changing even as George grows up.
Very much stealing the show, and I hope that doesn't change. We will see more of Prince George, as you just heard in that piece, as he gets a little bit older, as he takes on a little bit more responsibility. Joe, interestingly, when Prince William, of course, his father, the heir to the throne, turned 12, he couldn't travel with his father, then the heir to the throne, as kind of a royal family rule. There's no sign, though, that the Waleses are putting that rule into place for George. Joe?
Interesting. All right, Molly, thank you so much. Coming out, the fallout from President Trump's handling of those files on Jeffrey Epstein is spreading to X this morning.
When we come back, we've got some exclusive new reporting on the growing divide among so-called MAGA bots. We will explain that's up next.
Back now with a closer look at what's making news in the world of politics this morning, starting with a new round of re-votes in Washington. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Sirkin joins us now with that. Good morning.
Hey, Joe. Good morning. Well, we begin over on Capitol Hill. Remember all those Democrats last week who walked out of the Senate Judiciary Committee over a controversial nominee? Well, that panel will now have to re-vote on 7 of President Trump's judicial picks later this week. That's because when Senator Cory Booker gave that speech trying to slow down the vote of Emil Bove, dozens of judges actually warned the Senate against his confirmation. While that was happening, Republicans voted on a slate of nominees but didn't follow Senate rules that require at least 2 members of the minority party, in this case Democrats, present. And staying in Washington, the Trump administration is trying to distract its MAGA base from the Jeffrey Epstein fallout. It's an issue that has divided the president's supporters in and out of the Capitol. So the White House is flooding the zone with all of the greatest hits. Trump used his Truth Social platform to attack California Senator Adam Schiff and post this fake AI-generated video, you see it there, showing former President Obama being arrested by the FBI. Trump also weighed in on the name of the D.C. sports team, threatening to block a deal to build a new stadium unless the Washington Commanders change their name back to the Redskins. And finally, a small company that supplies nearly 75% of all private label, not from concentrate orange juice to customers in the U.S. is suing the Trump administration over 50% tariffs on goods from Brazil set to kick in on August 1st. The New Jersey and Washington state-based company, Johanna Foods, said the tariffs would cost them an estimated $68 million, making the juice not worth the squeeze. And that is a look at what is making news in politics this morning. Joe?
All right, Julie, thank you so much. We've got some exclusive reporting to bring you about a mega bot network on the social media platform X that appears to be split over the Trump administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Here to talk more about this, NBC News reporter Kevin Collier. He covers cybersecurity, privacy, and technology. Kevin, good to have you with us. So first of all, just lay out how NBC News was able to track this bot network and the research involved. I mean, how many accounts are we talking about here?
Around 400. It started with a tip that we got that I shared with some researchers at Clemson University and at the company Alethea, which tracks stuff like this. I asked them to run it down as far as they could go with their proprietary software. By the time of publication, they'd found about 400. But I think it's very notable that on X, formerly Twitter, under Elon Musk, they've made it much harder to research what's happening. So this could be significantly bigger. The 400 or so is just the ones that we have confirmed.
So talk to us about how the issue of the Epstein files is now dividing this bot network. What are some of the examples we're seeing?
Well, so these accounts are sort of like yes men. They're very supportive. They're replying an agreement with any conservative account. So if somebody says Pam Bondi must go, she's covering up the Epstein files, they'll say, yes, she must resign. If someone says, no, I support Pam Bondi, she's doing a tough job for President Trump, they might say, yes, I stand with Pam Bondi. And at times, they're literally doing it in the same minute, just replying kind of contradictory messages to different people at the same time.
So how does something like this actually happen? And what does it tell us about how the mega base is viewing this specific issue?
Yeah, best as we can tell, they were programmed to sort of be a feedback loop for the MAGA crowd on X, make them seem like there's more support than organic, real support than there actually is. They seem to have been trained to reply to these accounts in a fairly uniform, supportive way. Like, we love RFK Jr., we love Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. It's only with the MAGA movement kind of fracturing right now over the Epstein files that the bots' messaging has become so garbled. And in parts, it's just a result of AI chatbots getting really good. We all know how convincing ChatGPT and other large language models can be. And they're really trivial to automate. Like, anybody with a little bit of programming can do this. We don't even know which LLM powers this network. It could be any of the big ones or a lot of the lesser known ones that could accomplish this.
So, Kevin, if we look at the issue of bots more broadly, is it possible to know the scope and scale of the inauthentic accounts on platforms like X? Is there right now anything that's being done to try and root them out under Elon Musk?
X does have various programs. They're pretty quiet about how they work to automatically address bots and inauthentic behavior on the account. But, Elon Musk, when he took control of the company, he gutted the trust and safety team. And by and large, is it possible to know the scope and scale? No. And it's not. And I don't think any company is able to really track LLMs, chatbots super well, and certainly not X.
All right. Kevin Collier, thanks for coming on to talk about your exclusive reporting. We appreciate it. Now for some consumer news, your summer barbecue might be getting a little more expensive. That's because beef prices are on the rise, and they're hitting record highs. Here to talk more about this, NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans. So how high are we talking here?
We're talking about $6 a pound for ground beef, and the government says they've never recorded prices that high before. That was hit last month. That's up about 12%. And then you look at steaks, $11.49 a pound. That's up 8% from a year ago. The American Farm Bureau Federation saying there's really strong consumer demand. People want their beef. And you've got Tyson, the meat company, saying it's a challenging beef environment overall here.
Why is this happening? Can we expect to see it continue? What's it looking like down the road?
It's interesting. You got about 7% fewer farms in the U.S. since 2017. You've got interest rates and inflation that have really hurt some farmers. And you've got drought in the Midwest and the Northern Plains. That drought means there are fewer acres to graze these herds on. And so you just have a smaller number of beef cattle available at the same time that you have really strong demand. You also have some import challenges. Really watching, I just saw your orange juice story there. There'll be 50% tariffs on Brazil. Brazil is the largest exporter of beef to the U.S., accounting for a lot of the exports to the U.S., so that would be higher prices for that when that happens.
Let's talk about the other thing that we've talked about so much over the last couple of years, and that is eggs. You're like our egg expert here. Where do things stand with prices there right now?
Those prices have come down a little bit. You saw record highs in March. Look at that, $6.23 a dozen in March. That was just shocking. But now they're about $3.78, still higher than last year, but down. And we talked to Michael Swanson, who's the chief ag economist at Wells Fargo, who told us it's easier to rebuild those egg supplies than it will be the beef herds. It could take a couple of years, experts say, to get all of the sort of economics back in line for making it profitable to grow those herds. And remember, demand is quite strong for beef. So the egg situation is getting a little bit better, not where it was last year, but better. The beef situation we're watching.
You can still see eggs on the shelves right now, which is quite a welcome sight. So just generally speaking, I mean, people are going to the grocery store and they're still just not liking a lot of the prices that they're seeing, especially when it comes to these things. What's the best advice we have?
So pork prices are basically flat to just a tiny bit higher this year, so that's important. You can switch to that cheaper meat. Chicken prices are also cheaper than beef prices. You can buy in bulk, you can shop for the savings, but I think there's a lot of awareness among consumers. Consumers are really exhausted by inflation, so it's one of the reasons why these beef prices are getting so much attention right now.
We know folks are really into chicken right now, at least when it comes to the restaurants and things like that. All right, Christine, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Billy Joel is opening up about his battle with a brain disorder. The 76-year-old gave his first interview since the announcement of his diagnosis and the cancellation of his tour back in May. NBC News correspondent Sam Brock has the details.
The Piano Man opening up for the first time about his ongoing health battle. Billy Joel discussing his brain disorder diagnosis on Bill Maher's Club Random podcast.
Did we fix it?
It's not fixed. It's still being worked on.
You look good. You sound good. You look and sound like you.
I feel fine.
Oh, okay.
My balance sucks. It's like being on a boat.
The 76-year-old all-time rock and roll figure and Hall of Famer announcing he was canceling all of his upcoming shows back in May after he says he was diagnosed with normal pressure hydrocephalus, a condition in which fluid builds up in the brain, sometimes causing problems with hearing, vision, and balance.
What causes that?
Nobody knows. They don't know. I thought it must be from drinking.
But you don't drink.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
But I used to, like a fish.
Joel's team at the time of diagnosis said the time off from touring would allow him to recover from surgery and to undergo physical therapy.
It's a very simple procedure. What's called a ventricular shunt is put in. It takes just a short time in the operating room, and that allows the fluid to drain without blockage. About 80% of patients improve.
While staying off stage during that recovery, Joel is working on promoting his new HBO documentary, Billy Joel, and So It Goes.
I think music saved my life. It gave me a reason to live.
The second half of the two-part chronicle of Joel's rise to fame and lessons learned set to be released on Friday.
Everything I've done and everything I've lived through has somehow found its way into my music.
The title, a nod to his 1989 ballad.
And so it goes.
Now more than ever, his fans cheering him on from afar, hoping for a healthier tomorrow.
I would not leave you in times of trouble.
The star leaving his supporters with a bit of hope.
But you're good. You look good.
I feel good.
Yeah.
I think they keep referring to what I have as a brain disorder. So it sounds a lot worse than what I'm feeling.
Sam Brock, NBC News.
Coming up, it could be a reality check for companies betting big on AI. After the break, we're going to dig into a new report revealing that controversial tech might actually be more trouble than it's worth when it comes to how much some workers get done. That's next on Morning News Now. We're back with a reality check on the full power of artificial intelligence. For the past year, multiple startups have focused on using AI technology to build software code. One of those companies was valued at a whopping $10 billion. Now, despite that high price tag, experts say the future and reliability of AI coding are still uncertain. Now, this all comes after a recent study revealed that when the software developers used AI tools, they actually took 19% longer to complete tasks. NBC News technology contributor Joanna Stern joins me now to talk more about this. She's also senior personal technology columnist for the Wall Street Journal. Joanna, always good to have you with us to help us understand this stuff. So explain to us, why does AI appear to be slowing workers down rather than making them more efficient? It would seem this goes against what most of us believe AI does.
That's certainly what the findings of this particular study was. And I would just say here that we don't have a lot of data yet. And that's why this study is very interesting. They looked at how coders were using AI tools over a number of months, and they had them log their hours, they had them log their screen time, and they also were able to see how much they were able to get done with AI and without AI. And as you said, it seems in this case, it took them longer to do the work with AI. This is somewhat surprising, but also not surprising to those of us who have been following this, because we don't also know the level of expertise of some of these coders. But something I hear very often across many industries is if you're pretty advanced in your work, you're pretty advanced in your career, AI doesn't help as much. But it is the younger or the newer employees or experts or people going into a field that are getting a lot of benefit out of AI. And so it doesn't surprise me here, if these were really advanced coders, they weren't getting a lot out of these systems.
And the younger people maybe are better at using AI since it's all they've been doing is this kind of stuff their whole lives. So overall, we know job openings for software developers hit a 5-year low this past year. Why do some companies appear to be putting so much stock into AI coding when it comes to these jobs?
Well, certainly it is efficiency, right? People want their employees to be more efficient. And there is a lot to show that these AI coding tools can make people efficient. Now, that's not what's happening in this study, but especially, again, if you are one of those more entry-level people, if you are doing some more rudimentary coding tasks that you do all the time and the AI can do that for you and you can work on something else, well, that's really beneficial to have in your company. And that's why we have seen in a lot of ways the valuations, as you pointed out, of some of these AI coding or vibe coding companies, as it's been called, really shoot up.
What is the likelihood that we're ever going to see AI just completely replace human engineers? I mean, I think we're worried about this in a number of industries. What are the concerns that would come with that?
Look, not likely. I'm writing a book right now, and I'm looking at so many different industries and so many people in our lives and trying to replace them with AI. And my conclusion keeps coming to, yeah, the human's still going to be a part of this. And if only for one major reason, to help keep training the AI systems, but also just working hand in hand with the AI systems. I think that is what we are really seeing, is that this becomes, as Microsoft calls their product, a co-pilot, a co-worker working alongside these systems and machines.
So what's the lesson then for younger people who are maybe just going to college or getting an education, but also like middle-aged folks or maybe older workers who realize that they might need to get better at using AI to be this co-pilot with them, and they're worried because they don't know if they have the training or the expertise to do that?
You just got to learn it. I gave a commencement speech in June, and that's what I said. I said, we've got to embrace learning some of these tools. And look, in some ways it can be exciting. We embrace the internet. Look, we can talk about the downsides of that, but we all learned how to adapt to things like email and searching Google and all of these things. And in many ways, it opened up new ways of working. And I think we're going to have the same thing with AI. I don't mean to be like sort of just an optimistic, and everything's rosy and it's going to be great. I don't think that's the case, but I do think we all do need to embrace it, because this is going to be at least for the next few years, where all companies are going to be trying to figure out how this works, and those that are using it are going to be ahead.
And for those who are intimidated by it, can you give them some words of advice that might make them feel a little better?
Try it out. It's not going to bite, but also be cautious and really do understand that these tools are not God, right? We've been hearing a lot about, these godlike AI tools. Let's not take everything they say at face value. I know I've been on this show a lot talking about some of the things this spews, these large language models can spew, and they can just be not true. So please be cautious and just understand that not everything they say is true.
Always good advice. Joanna Stern, great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us this morning. Time for this morning's financial headlines. Universal Music is hitting Wall Street. CNBC's Savannah Hanau has that and some other money news. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. Yeah, Universal Music has confidentially filed for a U.S. IPO. The world's largest music label is currently traded in the Netherlands, and it hasn't revealed the size of the U.S. offering. Universal's roster includes megastars like Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, Ariana Grande, and Harry Styles, and companies are looking to list their shares in the U.S. to take advantage of a strong rebound in the stock market. Meanwhile, President Trump's media company has built a $2 billion stake in Bitcoin and other related assets. The Bitcoin holdings account for about 2/3 of Trump Media and Technology's liquid assets. The president's position in the company, which trades on the NASDAQ, is worth nearly $2.3 billion. President Trump, who was once a skeptic of digital currencies, has vowed to make the U.S. the world's crypto capital. And Tesla has officially opened its long-awaited and hyped diner and drive-in in Hollywood, and it combines nostalgia and futurism with Tesla's fast-charging network, so drivers can charge their vehicles while ordering a hamburger, a hot dog, or other classic diner menu items. And it's also loaded with Tesla merchandise, an Optimus robot, and 2 45-foot LED movie screens at a drive-in theater that syncs with speakers inside your Tesla vehicle. Elon Musk posting on X, the company is exploring other locations if the diner turns out well, Joe.
Looks kind of like a Cybertruck on the outside.
It really does. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Savannah. Appreciate it.
Got it.
That does it for this hour of morning news. Now, don't go anywhere. The news continues right now.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.